Comic Boom.
Hey guys, Comic Boom here to review Young Justice number 12, written by Brian Michael Bendis with art by John Timms. It has been my wish that at some point Young Justice would be a story that would actually go somewhere. Alas, we are now on issue 12 of Young Justice and nothing has happened. This is the finale of the Lost in the Multiverse story arc, which I think, has it not been happening from issue 1? This is going to be my last Young Justice review for quite a while, simply because it's quite obvious that nothing is happening. One of the things that's become apparent here is, and I find it interesting when I compare Young Justice with Legion of Superheroes. I think Brian Bendis is writing Legion of Superheroes just a slight bit better than he has been writing Young Justice. There's so many players here in Young Justice, and Bendis just does a terrible job moving forward the plot. In fact, the plot has not moved forward. It's 12 issues in, and we still don't know what the point of these first 12 issues are, other than the fact that we only know a little bit about the various characters. The onslaught of dialogue, the terrible dialogue, the pointless dialogue. And you know, the thing is, here's the thing with dialogue. Dialogue can be terrible. It doesn't have to be good to move a story. That's a criticism. Nobody likes bad dialogue. But there are numerous examples of terribly dialogued comic books where nonetheless the story is moving forward. You could have somebody not very familiar with the English language and make up dialogue and the story could still advance. Here, we've got pointless dialogue that doesn't reveal anything about the characters. That is just small talk. It's literally just small, innocuous, pointless talk between the various characters that are all taken from different points in time throughout the multiverse. There's no understanding of how they could possibly exist together. And now this really muddies the waters, because to make it even worse, we now have the Wonder Twins introduced in this comic book, and the Dial H for Hero characters. This isn't for me. This isn't for me. I'm not interested in the Wonder Twins. The Wonder Twins series, I stopped collecting at issue 2 because I didn't like it. Mark Russell is writing the Wonder Twins storyline, or the Wonder Twins maxi series, but it's just not very good. I actually thought I should have known better, because Mark Russell is very good at political satire, and humor and satire are strong points, and so I loved Mark Russell in the Flintstones, and he wrote a really funny kind of comic quasi book called God is Disappointed in You, and the Wonder Twins thing is not something that it's a comic book that really, it's completely out of sync with the tone and the mood of the rest of the DC universe, and it's most certainly out of tune with Young Justice. And of course, that would mean, if I say that it's that Wonder Twins are out of touch with the Young Justice, that's a little bit oxymoronic of me to say, for the simple reason that Young Justice doesn't even have a tone. It's all over the place, and it's a mess of a story. The characters that I'm interested in knowing more about, Teen Lantern and Jenny Hex, that's going to take forever and a day. We're 12 issues in here, and now we're finally at the point where now suddenly Superboy is lost in the multiverse. He's lost in Skataris, Skataris with Warlord, and what's the point? Like, where's this going? I just don't. This doesn't have a direction. It doesn't have a point. 12 issues in, Bendis. Now, look, one could say that, why does this comic book exist? If at first, when Young Justice came out, the criticism of Bendis was that, well, he doesn't know the characters. None of these characters should know each other. They're out of continuity. They're displaced characters from different time and different eras of the DC universe. So at first it was, well, you know, Bendis doesn't know what he's doing. But wait a minute. It ends up that, well, you know, Bendis was saying, be patient, be patient. He mentioned 7 crises. There weren't 7 crises. It doesn't make sense that there are 7 crises. but I could identify 7 crises, I suppose. But it's a very loose and flippant term. So we got a bunch of different crises. We got a bunch of different characters that shouldn't really know each other, but kind of do, and they're all existing in the continuity. Some continuity is respected, some isn't. It is a mess. So as a long-time reader, I really didn't like Young Justice. It's been terrible. I keep waiting for some things for the boat to be corrected. My point being is this. This is a comic book that should not have come out in 2019 at all. It should not have come out. It should only come out once the DC Universe has a firm grip on what the heck is going on. Are we going toward 5G or not? How do these characters know each other? This is a mess. Because when people look to Young Justice in the future, they're going to want to know how this group formed. And then they're going to look to the abortion that is this series. This is terrible. As an arc, virtually no questions that are meaningful are really being answered in a substantive way. We still know very little about the Teen Lantern. We still know very little about Ginny Hex. All we know is that little tidbits of information. It is inexcusable that we don't know we should know virtually everything. You've had 12 issues. I'm sorry. The focus this should be a character-driven drama, not jumping from multiverse to universe to universe to universe where we reveal nothing. We got no revelations of anything of substance about any of these characters, and yet here we are, and that's what's so frustrating about it. So I'm likely only going to review, I'm probably not going to be reviewing Young Justice. I can only see coming back to reviewing it in future issues if something actually happens. I skipped, I think I reviewed 2 issues of Young Justice, and then this here at issue 12. I'm just very, very disappointed. I have no idea where this is going. How do I summarize this story? Well, all that's happened in 12 issues is that literally, this won't take long. What happened in 12 issues are these random characters, Robin, Wonder Girl, Ginny Hex, Teen Lantern, and Impulse happen to run into each other on the street, literally run into each other on a New York street, I think it was in New York. Who cares? Doesn't matter. And then suddenly they were whisked away through various Earths. They had one long contrived conversation. They met various other characters in other universes, did nothing. They were trapped on Gemworld for a while, left there nonsensically. Princess, the Gems, or whatever the hell she is, Amethyst, Princess of Gemworld. She doesn't stay on Gemworld because she got banished. So so she's her background is a mess. Gemworld is a disaster. She's made too young. She's already uninteresting. They changed her in a way that I didn't like. They deviated from the core character, in my view, in her situation. Very little focus on Teen Lantern. Very little answered about Ginny Hex. Ginny Hex is also, she was introduced in the Batman universe, which was Bendis's Batman Walmart Batman story. Bendis did a Batman Walmart story, which was very, very good. And Ginny Hex was introduced there, but we got no answers about it. But Ginny Hex's background is interesting. But I'll tell you why what's so disappointing is that the fact, it appalls me that one of my favorite characters, Jonah Hex, that his great-great-granddaughter, Ginny Hex, that in any way, shape, or form, Bendis has anything to do with her. It appalls me. I really wish they would remove Ginny Hex from Young Justice. She should not be on that team, and she should have her own series. As a matter of fact, she should have her own Black Label series, to be honest with you, and take the character seriously, because this is awful, awful stuff. If this is the future of what DC is offering for young readers, this convoluted, deplorable, horrible dialogue mess of a sad excuse of what DC now expects us to believe is a story, this is pathetic. This is appalling. So I'm out. I give this story arcs of Young Justice, it had so much potential, but Bendis clearly has no intention of actually going somewhere with the story. He's had 12 issues of this. He should be ashamed and embarrassed that he put this out. What a horrible way to start a new year for the Young Justice, to end issue 12, the finale of Lost in the Multiverse, and it ends, no questions are answered at all. No questions are answered. We still don't know any of the questions that we had about how did the Young Justice How do they know each other? What are all these what's all this stuff? What was the point of having these 12 issues? If you weren't going to, if at the very beginning you introduced them all and we're wondering how they know each other. If you're not going to answer that question, Bendis, at least give us some information on the characters and give us some origin stories and some substance and some meaningful character interactions. You didn't even do that. This is what's so terrible. And wow. And the art, I'm sorry, I don't like the art. I'll be straight up. The problem with the art, with John Tim's art, I know some people like it. It's not my cup of tea. But, I mean, what's the point of even having an artist? I mean, you might as well just draw stickmen, because it's all poisoned by a bunch of dialogue and word balloons that indicate nothing of substance. This is just a bad series. I can't recommend this. I would give this, story-wise, over 12 issues. I wouldn't give this free to someone. I wouldn't give it free. And I actually have it free, digitally, to give to people free. But I wouldn't do that, even if they wanted it, because it's that bad a series. 1 out of 10. 1 out of 10 for the series as a whole. And I'm just going to leave it at that. And if I do come back and reviewing this, it'll likely only be because we're getting some information that is maybe remotely interesting about Teen Lantern or Ginny Hex. But I just can't see anything else, because I don't like any of these characters except Ginny Hex or Teen Lantern, and that is in spite of the writer. Simple as that. And Bendis, I loved your Batman universe in Walmart, but that's the only thing at DC you've done that I've liked. But in any event, it is what it is, guys. Tell me what you think of Young Justice number 12. It ain't gonna change my opinion. Follow me on Twitter at Metropolis40, and until next time, Happy New Year. What a terrible way to start the year. Dominic Boom out.